first round of the 2017 Suzuki Series kicked off at Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park in Taupo on the weekend of the 9th and 10th of December. Spearheading the two-wheeled attack for the Carl Cox Motorsport Team, Dylan Telford and Jay Lawrence would run in the hotly contested F1 Superbike class, and Toby Summers would fly the flag in the super competitive F2 Supersport class. The three-wheeled assault would see two crews represent the team, with current British champion Tim Reeves partnering once again with Mark Wilkes on the LCR F2 machine, and the local pairing of Barry Smith and Tracy Bryan piloting the LCR F1 unit. Practice took place on Saturday in clear and calm conditions and gave the team a good chance to iron out any bugs prior to race day. Unfortunately for Dylan, proceedings came to a stop in the second session when he had a high speed off approaching turn 7. He was taken to hospital with various aches and pains, but was declared okay and was released soon after. Sadly for Dylan, he'd take no further part in the meeting. Toby was first out on track on Sunday and did a superb job to qualify second on the grid behind Shane Richardson. Jay ran a clean session to find himself 9th on the timesheets, and the sidecar qualifying would see an all Carl Cox Motorsport front row with Barry and Tracy taking pole from Tim and Mark. Sunday racing saw Toby out on track first. After a clean getaway and a solid 4 laps, Toby was hit from behind entering turn 1 and knocked off. His bike then happily piloted itself into the gravel trap before gently falling onto its side. Toby quickly picked the bike up and recovered to cross the line in 8th, but the rules state that if a bike falls to the ground, it cannot be restarted. So sadly, Toby was classified as a non-finisher. Jay was out next, and he rode a solid but somewhat solitary race to come home in 8th place. Significantly, Jay's best lap time showed that he had closed the gap to the leaders, something that bodes well for the rest of the series. The first race of the day for sidecars proved to be something of a marathon with 1 aborted start and 2 restarts, but it was an excellent race for the Carl Cox Motorsport crew, with Barry and Tracy battling with Tim and Mark before scorching past on the long straight to take victory. After his race 1 visit to the gravel, Toby was keen to have a clean run in race 2. From the outset he set about chasing down the hard-charging Richardson, and although a gap slowly opened, Toby was able to apply pressure towards the end of the race and close it down as he put in a lap time that was less than 0.2 of a second off Richardson's pace, an excellent result after the disappointment of race 1. Race 2 for Jay was eventful, with a turn 1 incident meaning a full restart would be required about 40 minutes later. At the restart, Jay set about chasing down Connor London, whom he hounded for the first 3 laps of the race before forcing his way through at the A1 corner. Jay ran slightly wide on the exit, and this let Connor back through straight away. But Jay was not to be outdone, and on the very next lap made the pass as they headed into turn 4. A superb 6th placing would be just reward for Jay's efforts. Tim and Mark were keen to push harder in race 2 and looked purposeful as they led the pack into turn 1. Expecting a challenge from Barry and Tracy, the experienced English duo rode the wheels off their LCR and would hold on to the lead for the first 3 laps before reluctantly relinquishing the position into the chase, and not before attempting to regain it almost immediately. Unfortunately, a quick visit to the grass was the outcome. That short stint of lawn mowing gave Barry and Tracy all the breathing room they needed, and they cruised to the flag to take victory ahead of Tim and Mark. Another Carl Cox Motorsport sidecar 1-2 to finish the day's racing. Round 2 of the Suzuki Series takes place on the 16th and 17th of December at Circuit de Aymon, Manfield. Join us then for more action from the Carl Cox Motorsport team.